Sorry.
We gotta approve the agenda.
We got to approve the agenda. First on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Oh,
Right, so let's, anyone move to,
I'd like to add one late item to the agenda.
oh,
Two,
yes.
please. An information item, so that's going to be number 5.3. And that's an excerpt from the May 27th regular council meeting regarding the recommendation, the definition of a sign. That's just for your
I
information.
thought it was in here. I thought it was already.
it's in the,
Your recommendation. This is council. Council's already responded.
Oh, sorry, that was
They've
council. I
responded to
didn't
your
even notice that.
recommendation in the affirmative.
Super.
So that's, yeah, that's just an
Speaking of
info
space.
item. And then we'll have item 4.0 will be our delegation regarding the escape card.
okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. And with that late item, I guess we move for approval of the agenda.
As amended.
As amended.
I move approval of the agenda as
Thanks,
amended.
Penny.
Second.
And number 2, move to adopt the minutes. Everyone's had a chance to look through them?
Okay.
Okay. Motion to adopt the minutes?
I'm not a
Anyone?
voting person, am I? Steph, no.
I guess you're not.
No, I'm a, you
Okay, me again.
Ben, thanks, Benny. Seconded by me.
So now we'll do the next.
Yeah, so now, 4.0. Henry, do you have a presentation to show us?
I do, yeah.
Super.
I'm there. Alright, so, not quite sure how related this is to what you're doing today, but hopefully helps lighten the mood for the rest of your meeting.
Oh,
Good cover.
So, with my time being here, I've noticed there's a bit of an issue on this island, as great as it is, amongst youth, and that would be the effects of boredom being on the island, which doesn't seem like that should happen on such a beautiful island like this. But after a while, the views and the nature gets stale, especially with the fast-paced movement of phones and everything going on with friends and social activities in the way, kind of just blocking people from what's right in front of them. And this is because, of course, as teenagers, right, we're constantly craving stimulation as we're going through life, learning and becoming adults. That's basically our main goal. Okay, and this leads to two basic paths that you can take. And one, I'd call the socialite bug. Okay, and this is someone who's constantly going off island. They're constantly catching the ferries, spending money on buses and shopping downtown, meeting up with their friends. You know, and they're not spending a lot of family time, which I've noticed. And then this leads, of course, to alcohol and partying, and you know, places you don't really want to be, just from you don't want to be with friends. And then this leads to pot and drugs, which is just you know, it ends up you have a lack of motivation for school and people become lazy. And then the next path, which I've noticed, would be an introvert stoner. Right? And this is someone that stays in their room. They don't really have motivation to go outside. Maybe hiking's not their thing. If they've, you know, nature's not really their deal, and they don't want to catch the ferry every day. And they don't have many friends, which again, this probably leads to pot use, which then you have lack of motivation for going out and doing things again, just adds to it, which of course then leads to mental health and depression issues, which is another place you want to go to. And I think this is partly because of Bowen's relaxed. It's very targeted towards being relaxed and slow paced, especially towards maybe the elderly. For example, the Xenia Gardens and the Opa, that's a good example of that, what Bowen's all about. But for a teenager that's trying to expend energy all the time, you know, they don't. The only real way to do that for them would be to party in a for example, if you know this in, what was it, the K. Roger Curtis, there's an issue of garbage, right? Because, they don't have anything to do, so they go to private land and they party and tent up. That's probably not the greatest thing. And of course, you need physical activity, stay healthy. So a skate park, I think, would be a great idea to solve this issue. And the psychiatrist, Ivan Pavlov, once said, the mind is cured through the elegance of each movement. Okay, and I was really thinking about this when I was looking at these photos as well, because they look, it looks pretty nice, well integrated into the forest, in my opinion. Okay, and then the outdoor activity, would up productivity, increase health, and that would, in turn, you'd have better grades, school would do better. Right? And of course, with people spending more time on Bowen, they'd be spending more money on Bowen and the small businesses, increasing revenue, instead of spending it in downtown and all the buses and ferries and things. So that would be a pretty economical value for Bowen. Okay. So there's two paths. All right. One, depression. Build a skate park. And I think you all know which one you choose.
I ask you where that skate park was that you showed, nestled in the trees?
I'm not sure. It's just online.
We'll find it.
Yeah,
Find it.
it's a
Actually, no.
You probably found the designs and everything.
it's a neat looking setup.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't catch your name. Henry
Wing.
Wayne. Okay. My name is Sue Ellen Fast, and I'm a member of Bowen Island Council.
Okay.
And I've also been involved over the years in Parks and Rec and things like that, different committees. And I'm wondering if you have used the bike park or are you involved in the disc golf park, which is being created now? Wondered if you.
I did not know about that. I did know about the bike park.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, just so you know, I don't know, what part of the island do you live on?
In Blue Water.
Blue Water? Because the skate park, the skate park. I've also seen a bunch of skate park proposals come over the years. And there's been different times that sort of partial ones are activated, sometimes on the Vic school grounds or in a neighborhood. And in the meantime, for right now, you might be interested in the disc golf course, because that's a volunteer group that's out there building it and working with the municipality right now to do that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, possibly.
yeah, you have a look anyway.
All right.
It's something that you could actually get involved in and maybe make it better for teens.
Yeah.
To be something even more fun, and maybe a group of you. There's volunteer stuff to do, including like actually trail building type things, I gather, and fundraising and that kind of stuff. So just as an idea, because I really appreciate you coming with these ideas and bringing it to the attention of the bigger community.
Yep.
We need a Bowen that's good for everybody. So thank you.
Thanks.
Bicycle park too?
There is a bike park, right now, the one behind Vic's, behind the snake field there. So that's just a recent addition. It just opened in the last couple of years, and it has several tracks for up to Black Diamond where you have to jump, big jumps.
Can I ask one question? It's partly for Henry and partly for Sue Ellen. Location. Do you guys have a location in mind, and have there been historical locations that have been looked at?
There has been historical locations. The parking lot above Crippen Park.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know about.
Yeah. Sue Ellen, was that what was looked at before that you're aware of?
I think there've been a bunch of locations looked at. I think there was at one time there's been portable ramps, I think, that have moved around the island. And so for a while they were at the teen center, which is at the Bowen Children's Center, the shared building in the parking lot there. And for a while I think they were at Vic's at the elementary school, I'm not sure. And for a while they were in a neighborhood I don't remember which ones. Or they may have been different ramps, because this is going over 25 years that I'm remembering. People have been talking about a skate park for Bowen. And the challenge is, where do you put one?
Yeah.
And is that a city thing compared to because some people just go over to Glen Eagles and use that
Yeah.
skate park, right? And whereas, you know, who pays for that much cement? It just didn't seem to fit. So that's why I want to let you know about the disc golf course, because it's something that's under development, and you guys might be able to make it, get involved in the design of it as the advisor design, and we're interested in design.
Yeah, and if and when, you know, that moves forward, that would be what we would be doing. You know, would you have a shelter? We probably wouldn't comment on the dynamics of how to use it. That you probably have your own professionals designing that. But it would kind of be, assuming it went forward, it would come back to us to review
Yeah.
dynamics of the aesthetics and materials and such. Thank you.
John Stiver and Ron Marsh brought
Is it, besides the forming of the earth, does it then have what kind of surface on
Concrete. You'd be filling it out of concrete.
it? So it's just all hand laid, built up concrete?
Yeah.
Because you can't form it in that form.
I'm assuming it's shotcrete, like a pool,
Yeah.
and then you just render it nice and smooth.
I think it has to have specialized finishes
Yeah.
on the inside.
I mean, I've been to ones that have just been fully built by hand before.
Mhm.
You know, it's just under a bridge or something. So it's like,
Out of the rain.
seems pretty simple.
Yeah, well, I remember when they looked at, in the past years, the rain is one of the challenges, because what you don't want is slippery patches or algae kind of, you know, that kind of slick patches in an athletic arena, which is really what it is, right? Where people are going for high performance and high speed. And you don't want to add unexpected risks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
so anyway,
Yeah.
but thank you very
Anna.
much.
Thanks
Yeah.
for presenting to
Thanks
us.
for having me.
Yeah. If you want to find out about the skateboard park, you can call the office during daytime hours,
Okay.
and if you can't find
Bike
it
park.
online, but you'll probably,
Bike
or
park.
talk to Steph.
Bye.
Bike
Bike park and, oh, sorry, I'm actually meaning
Bike
the disc golf park, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. On to 4.1. The Telus building.
I hope everyone had a chance to look at the memo. Tried to keep it short. So essentially, we're bringing back a development permit application for the Telus utility building at the corner of Miller and Bowen and Trunk Road. And the last time it came to the design panel, there were concerns around the color of the roof, which was white. And also with all the tree removal that was being proposed and really nothing else in their landscaping plan. So they have come back with 2 different roof color choices and also supplied some material boards to show what it looks like in person. What I have been told is that this is the only color that has been approved by Telus. And the other one, they're just supplying for contrast. I'm not sure what that means, but it's this one's a slightly like greenish off-white color. Definitely not white, but still quite a light color for reasons that are explained in the letter that the applicant has supplied. They're really concerned with solar heat gain, keeping the building cool. They wanted a very light color so that the machinery operating inside will stay operating. This is the second color choice they have supplied, the stone gray, which is also a light color, slightly darker than that one, which has not been approved by Telus, but they decided to show it to us anyways. So So, that being said, they want to get an okay on the bone white, which is the first color. Comments with the roof color?
Well, it's, at least it's not white.
Oh,
It seems funny that it's got called bone white.
I know,
Pale
it
green.
certainly does not look white.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the renderings are a little misleading too. The printer color is more green than the actual
Yeah.
swatch.
Is that an actual swatch of the metal finish? Or is that a best guess?
Feels like it.
It's metal. I don't
Yeah.
know if they, and the colors come from the supplier, so it's not a paint on after like the hard
Right.
plank. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that they got it from the
What
supplier.
little difference it makes, I'd vote for that.
Yeah.
I think it'll give a little more contrast too.
At the moment, you don't really see it that much. Partly because
But
the
the trees
building's
are all coming down.
I know, the trees are coming down and there's a building, in theory, being built on, what's that, lot 3?
51, half dozen, yeah.
I know,
And the main side that you would actually see a lot of the roof is the side that's facing that storage.
mhm.
So no one will really see it unless you work there.
Until the building gets built on the parking lot, and then you'd be looking down on it from in there.
But you'd be looking more on this side. This way.
Yeah, depending on how tall it is.
Yeah, so the roof color I don't think has the biggest impact, except for, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a tall building up the hill. But yeah.
I'm warming up to it, at least it's not white. It almost looks like an oxidized zinc, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, again, this was the color that they wanted approval on. If anyone has any serious objections, not.
Well, go ahead, Phil.
I'm just a liaison, but I wonder if you could phrase it as the color called metal roof A on the board, because if you say, it doesn't look like bone white to me, and I think they would put another color on.
So nitpick it, just to prove that.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the name in the supplier's catalog.
Well, it's especially
Don't
after
know why
hearing
it's-
their thermal loading issues, and
Yeah.
the fact that they are trying to avoid a black roof, I completely understand that. I
I'm
thought
fine
it
with
would-
that.
So there's two options there, though, and they prefer the lighter colored one.
They've all but said that that's the one they want.
Yeah.
And the other one's not approved by Telus, so even if we go with that one, then they have to go through more hoops or something like
Right.
that.
I can come back to this.
Yeah, and I, you know what, they're so similar, I would say just approve it. But
Your choice.
Just if everyone's okay with it. Yeah, okay.
So we recommend approval of the color scheme for
The color
the new
scheme.
Telus building?
Let's get approved one.
Yeah.
And then I guess the second one is the landscaping plan. And they have supplied the Arborist Report. It was done by Burley Boys. And they operate on the island here.
Yeah.
It's still very minimal landscaping, but I think it's definitely an improvement from the last one. They've shown replacement trees and some rhododendron shrubs. That's about it. But the report also supports why they need to remove the trees that they wanted to remove.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stumps will be ground, so we won't have random stumps poking out.
Makes sense. You know, especially given that they're always being topped to avoid the wires.
Mm-hmm.
At least the outer ones are.
If there's any specific concerns, we could also place some conditions on the permit. But essentially, I've drafted the permit to reflect the recommendations in the Arborist Report.
Hard to go against an arborist.
I'm glad to see the report, because last time
Yeah.
it just said hazardous.
Yeah.
Chop all of them down.
When you ask for an arborist report, you gotta remember that they're gonna write it the way you want it. That's what I've heard. photographers do when they do reports?
Yes and no.
Just a waste finance.
An arborist report is often more about mitigation than they are about whether you can or can't do something.
Yeah. And I do like that they have some root protection measures in there for when you're doing the restoration work.
Tell me, how far from the property line is the street pavement, just out of curiosity, do you know?
No, that was a tricky one. That came up at the last meeting, I think, with the where that pedestrian trail is.
Yeah,
I don't remember if we came to any sort of resolution on.
well, my suggestion was at the corner, it's very steep at that point. Now then, in this one drawing, it might be that steep because that's the way they have put in their septic system. And they show their septic system layout. I don't, you know, that's why it's probably rather steep there. I don't know, and I don't think we can change it.
Well, and it looks like, I mean, the cadastral is often mismatched with the photo, but it looks like the yellow of your property line goes out into the street, especially in the intersection.
Where, I don't see that.
Which page is it?
Oh,
On the site
on
map.
the wrong side.
21.
Yeah, 21. It's faint, but you can just see the yellow when you're right out almost in the center line of the street.
The cadastral, depending which version of cadastral they're using, Bowen Island's cadastral is quite off by up to like 15 meters in some places. So I would not go over
Yeah,
this.
I wondered.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
I'm curious, they say the replacement trees as mugo pine, I don't know, the only mugo pines I've ever seen are about that big.
Yeah, they're very small,
They're really
that's what I was
tiny.
gonna ask.
That would
So-
take 20 years to get this up.
Yeah.
If in fact
They're
they ever do
basically
get very big,
shrubs, yeah.
and it makes me wonder about the species, they don't,
The other thing I was wondering about is, you know, the sort of fire aspect, that maybe there should be a mix of deciduous and coniferous. Like, that doesn't really look like a landscape plan, it looks like
Looks natural.
they just plugged something in.
Yeah,
But those are shrub trees, they're not gonna be
They're not
tree trees.
right.
They're not, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous
I
to call
think-
them trees.
Yeah, I think their intent is to not need to come back to constantly trim and limb
Yeah.
and prune and top.
But if they're worried about thermal, they might like a little shade.
Yeah, I think that's why they're so concerned with thermals, because they're removing the shade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I don't know, I think we're gonna get a lot of comments from the community if they just sort of clear it out and don't replace it with anything substantial.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm having trouble finding the attachments.
The back side of the page,
Wait a minute.
no, on each page is double sided.
Maybe that's
Were they providing the picnic table? I'm trying to remember. That's something they did?
what's attachment four.
At least in their plan, I don't know if they're really going to put one in there.
Yeah, that's another question,
I know.
because picnic tables need maintenance
Yeah.
too, so,
It's,
but we would, as a design panel,
no, I wouldn't really comment on
Does that say custom?
crusher fines,
Gravel.
Gravel. Road mulch, basically, sounds like.
that. Yeah.
I wonder if we can query them on the choice of trees there. I mean, if a mugo pine is really a shrub that if I'm right, and then it doesn't create any visual screen, which was the whole idea from the panel's perspective.
The applicant couldn't come in person, but he did offer his phone number if anyone wanted to ask him specific questions. Steph,
Yes.
does our phone work
Yes.
still? Yeah.
Works. Is it ready?
Yeah,
Oh, it's not working right now. I'll wait a minute.
okay. Would everyone like the applicant on the line? Sound a little more back and forth?
Okay, currently, in relation to our discussion, that seems to be one of the main things. The screening was the issue, and if they're offering only trees that don't really afford screening, then that's kind of a failure of the intent.
It seems to be, we're an advisory design panel for a development permit area that's based around village revitalization. And this doesn't sound like it's gonna contribute to the revitalization.
No, not at all.
I believe there are various, I don't know what it's called, types of maple pines. Some of them do get a little bigger.
Yeah, they're still not big.
Yeah.
They're known for being small,
Mhm.
and they're not native.
No.
So, you know, they sort of don't meet any of the criteria.
I'm just going to verify this is the right phone number.
Okay.
Sure. It would be good to get the background thinking from you.
The Google plant, I mean, my first job was in it, or one of my first jobs was in a garden center. And Google pines are not a native plant.
Isn't it
Put
cheap?
enough of them into Trump.
Well, even the ones that are there now aren't either.
No,
Species.
Yeah.
well, they look closer to a native species, they look closer to short pine.
Giant rhododendrons. They're evergreen.
Well, and they'll,
Have they got some?
They
I
do
just
have
don't see it
rhododendrons.
would meet any of the guidelines.
those rhododendrons will bury the pines.
Yeah, yeah. It takes forever for them to get the size they are in Nepal or, you know, when they're native
Yeah.
Well,
places.
if they use a native rhododendron, it probably won't grow. Because
No, they're not very big. They're understood, real understood.
well, I've seen them up to like 20 feet or something. That's only a Manning Park where they're native and they're in the cool,
Yeah.
damp forest.
Oh, we've got a few here that are 20 feet tall.
Yeah, but they're not native ones.
No.
Has anybody noticed how many cedars have died below Artisan Square? Drought stressed, I presume. It's amazing. They're far more than living, you know, and it's just one after another. It
scary.
seems like it's happened really quickly.
Yeah, and I've seen that in town in places too, not just going home.
Yeah, south end of the island as well.
59?
But that's quite striking. If you walk up there.
Yeah.
Which is the landscape.
I brought it up on those.
Two, sort of.
Oh. There should be page
Yeah,
numbers
it's
on
it's
the-
this one, page 13.
Hi, is this Dennis? Hi, this is Emma with Bowen Island Municipality.
Hi, Emma, how are you?
Good, good. I'm actually calling in with the advisory design panel. Do you have a moment to discuss a few questions?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent.
Can I help?
Sure. So, I don't know if anyone wants to.
Dennis, I think we're down to questioning the replacement trees and the choice behind them, the Migo pine.
Okay.
Our guidelines say native plants, a native species, and mugo pine is not a native species as far as we know, unless you have other information.
I don't, but we relied on the arborist and a landscape contractor that we hired to provide support with local knowledge of the plant species there and the guidelines. So, I can't speak to that directly, unfortunately. I would
concern is those are very slow-growing, little teeny trees. And I think we'd like to see something larger in there.
We're concerned about screening the building. I have a concern about Bowen Islanders in general caring a lot about their trees, and to replace a lot of tall, mature trees that are screening the building with what is essentially shrubs that will only grow a few feet high doesn't sound very defensible.
Okay, yeah. To be honest, my experience and expertise, where I was hoping all the questions would be directed to me, were more to deal with the cladding and roof selection component. I understand the sensitivity around trees and consistency with what's there, but I know that the trees have been putting pressure on the building enclosure there as well, and have caused a lot of down for Telus. So I think we were trying to find something that was kind of low maintenance, I assume, but also met the guidelines. Looks like that may not be the case.
Well, the main issue is actually I take to be the screening issue. Whatever choice of trees is made, the intent would be to create a visual screen from the street. I'm not sure what ultimately the flexibility is in regards to native or non-native trees. But I suppose if it came down to it, the screening element is probably more important. The current trees that are there aren't native either. But mugo pine is a tiny little shrub tree, which certainly wouldn't fill that role as a screening element. So the gist of it is just to provide some kind of vegetative screening for the building.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm sure that we can work with that, and come up with a couple of viable alternate options. And I can't speak on behalf of Telus without working through any suggested alternates with them. They've reviewed the proposed plan that was crafted by Burley Brothers, who have experience working down Bowen Island. So, sure that there's a couple of options. We're getting close on intent here, which is essentially a screening element, a selection of trees. Are there suggestions from the ACP there that would be appropriate?
So we're all looking at each other thinking.
Well, if they want pines, there are most other pines that grow taller. There's coast pines, there's contorta, there's a number of them that would probably thrive, that do thrive on Bowen. There's also the possibility of a mix of trees.
Mhm.
Or you broke up there, what type of tree?
A mix of different trees.
Mixed trees, okay.
It seems like it needs a little landscape design. The Burley Boys are basically people who cut down trees. I don't know that they're your best source of information for what's a carefree tree to grow on in an environment like this. So maybe a little input from somebody who actually knows about planting and growing trees.
Yeah, we can, look forward to it. There is some urgency, obviously, from Telus and BBRD to get to a point where we can start construction. And if there's some concerns about what trees are installed at the end of construction,
Emma, can we do something like that?
No, the development permit would need to be issued before any work started. But the color, the design panel does not have any issue with the proposed color, the one that you have pointed out, bone white.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Where-
if you
where's-
needed to move ahead with, you know, purchasing materials, I suppose, that shouldn't be an issue. And if you could get in touch with Burley Brothers by tomorrow, I do have the permit drafted and ready to go. I think this concern is pretty straightforward to address if we can get some resolution between you, the arborist, and possibly a local landscaper. We could probably have this permit issued end of week.
okay, yeah, that would be great. As I said, Telus and their portfolio manager, CBRE, are very eager to get going here. We've got trades lined up from the contractor standpoint, and we just want to work together here to get going. And appreciate, the bone white being acceptable. I know it's still a little lighter than what was initially, I guess, to fit in there, but the physical sample is quite a bit darker than the color on the.
Sorry, are you telling us that the physical sample, metal roof A, is quite a bit darker than
No,
what?
what I'm saying is that that is the color. What I'm saying is that it doesn't look that color on the original sheet that we had sent over. That's why it was prudent that we sent over physical samples.
Thank you.
So-
It actually looks like pale green.
Good.
It's the term white, I think, that kind of
Yeah.
frightened us until we saw the actual swatch.
Yeah, the Cambridge white was still a little bit whiter, but instead of sending over a slightly whiter thing, we decided that they would be, Telus would be okay with the bone white, still fit within the color motif, and white should be good, so I appreciate that. Okay, Emma, I will contact Burley Brothers. Is there a landscape architect that, we typically work with PWL, landscape architects, but I don't think they go any further than Horseshoe Bay. Is there somebody local on the island there
Well,
that?
Yeah, Dennis, the list that I sent you were the landscapers that have business licenses on Bowen.
Mhm.
So Burley Boys was on that list as an arborist, but there were also a number of landscapers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will-
Because I will point out that, the development permit guidelines say use of native vegetation and ground cover should be utilized in landscaping. And the plants that are proposed in what is called the landscape plan, but looks like two drawings with the words mugo pine on them, is not native. The second thing is that 1.8 says landscaping efforts shall be made to retain existing trees, which you've provided the background for that now. Both evergreen and deciduous, use of native material is to be encouraged, and ground cover is to be encouraged wherever possible. And I noticed that the ground cover you've got down there is sod, which is also not native. So, these are, we're an advisory design panel supposed to speak directly to these guidelines. And so I think it would be great if you contacted a landscaper.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We can do that. As I said, we're happy to do that and to get going. And I think at the end of the day, from Telus' standpoint, they're keen to kind of not have their building stand out, and at the same time make sure that from their standpoint, the landscaping, they want it to be low maintenance. If we can accommodate that requirement without.
I think a landscaping we're losing you, but if you can still hear me, I think if Telus doesn't want their building to stand out, then the visual screening that a couple of members of our panel have talked about as being important would be great.
Yeah.
The other issue is if they're concerned about the impact of the trees on the building for mitigating future problems is the actual positioning of them, so that they do create a screen while not compromising the building.
Yeah.
So that's an important criterion for a landscaper to consider as well.
And plant the species according to location.
And I don't think we have any problems with the trees that you want to remove, the ones that are leaning over the building.
No, it's logical. We understand. A number of them are right under the power lines.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We didn't know how much flexibility there was. I think when we were trying to put together this updated landscape plan. So we'll give this a rethink. We'll reach out to one or two local landscapers for some guidance on materials that are native there, and put some thought into improving the screening.
Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, in the interest of time, you do want the permit within the next 2 weeks so that your project schedule can remain on schedule? Is that correct, Dennis?
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping for as early as tomorrow to get organized. There was some optimism that a permit would get released by Friday.
Well, I'm just wondering from the panel here, how extensive do you want this landscaping plan? We had started off with maybe switching out the Mugo pines for something that had a better screening effect, that was maybe native, to possibly an entire site landscaping plan redo. Which I think would take much more time. So just to hear from the panel, how extensive do you want the landscaping revision?
I think that he could proceed on it, or you could, with put an exception in. We'd like to review the final bushes or trees, small trees that you're putting in.
It doesn't look complex to me. There's a few parameters one needs to deal with and some species selection and notations on a drawing.
Okay, so you would like to see a full landscaping plan, preferably from a local landscaper?
Well, it's the scale that they have it is fine. You
Yeah.
want to see more? I don't know what you mean by a full landscaping plan. They just have to change some of those shrubs into bigger shrubs or small trees.
Okay.
I think it's the trees that are being removed are, and the area where any screening is needed, that's where we need to review what they're going to put in.
Okay, and we circulate that by email?
I think that would
Yeah.
be
That'd
fine.
be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
to expedite it.
Okay,
It sounded like there was one other concern with the ground cover, which
the sod.
Well, what I see in the landscape plan here is something called crusher fines, which looks like gravel compared to the grass that's there now. And then there's another patch called sod to match into existing, which sounds like lawn sod that will probably die right away if it's not watered. So I don't understand how you can put in sod without some maintenance at this time of the year, right? Like,
They drag a hose around, put sprinkles on.
but they won't. They've said that they don't want to. And I'm also just concerned about, I see a picnic table there on the crusher fines, which means a picnic table on the gravel. And are you proposing to put a picnic table in?
I don't know. I actually assumed that the picnic table was there. But I have not been to the site. One of my design engineers was there. I have no idea, to be honest. Yeah, I assumed it wouldn't be adding any elements. So I assumed that the picnic table was there for presumably for any of the Telus employees to eat lunch outside.
It is there. No one here's noticed it.
I don't know.
There's a lot of scaffolding up.
I've tried to review the landscaping from Google Earth, but it's quite, the street view is quite
cover, we need, I mean, it's such a prominent area.
It is.
I mean,
It's
people
a
are gonna go
huge-
bananas.
Yeah, you know, it sounds like, well, I agree, Betty. I
Yeah,
mean, this is the, one of the corners of our
Yeah.
key crossroads,
Yeah.
and it's inside this development permit area. And we don't understand this landscape plan
Well, 'cause
that's
it isn't
here.
one.
It isn't one, really.
It
There's-
needs a landscaper to
Yeah.
give them a plan.
well, and I think it's in Telus's best interest to put forward
Yeah.
a decent landscape plan that
Absolutely.
people will
Agreed.
be.
Like, I'm suggesting, like, is there a local landscape architect?
Yes, several.
Okay, we're happy to engage them, I think, to help smooth through this, the ground cover and tree planting requirements, to be consistent with the guidelines.
Great.
Great.
Yeah,
That's what we want.
Okay,
it is a pivotal intersection on Bowen, and when those pines come out, it'll look quite barren.
okay, yeah, no, it's, we don't wanna, the Telus ideal, we've done quite a few of these across is to not have them stand out, and they just want them to blend into to the community, so.
There is no picnic table. I'm looking at a photo that I took a month ago.
Oh, there you go, okay.
And,
They tried sneaking a picnic table.
Nice, let's keep that.
Okay, so if you could provide a landscape plan, Dennis, we'll circulate that by email and hopefully get you out a permit within a week of you submitting the plan if all goes well.
Oh, can we, is there any way to get a provisional permit on the premise of getting the landscape plan reviewed by everybody so we can move forward? I'm just worried that it's gonna take a couple of weeks to generate, to engage somebody and generate a landscape plan, and then it could be near 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now when we have a decision.
Okay, I'll look into putting in some sort of condition that might allow for that. I can't promise right now, so let me get back to you tomorrow with that.
Okay,
In the meantime, get on with picking someone.
yeah, we'll do that tomorrow morning for sure.
Great.
Okay,
Good, thank you, Dennis.
appreciate that, yeah. You guys can let us know as early as possible tomorrow, that would be great, so that we can connect with the contractor and with Telus to give them an update as to where we're at, and they can start planning their next steps for the work, and when that might be.
Okay, we'll touch
I
base
guess
tomorrow.
I guess the other concern from Telus is that they've got all these contractors essentially lined up to start, and we are worried that if we defer this for any time, that they may lose their construction window,
Well, they could have done
and
that.
then the work may not get done this summer, which would put other pressures on the project, because they're trying to do the work during the dry season to minimize the risks of any incidental leakage into the building.
well, Dennis, if I can offer, there's another risk here too, and that is that Telus will be perceived as creating an ugly space in the heart of the village. And I don't know if you've been, well, I mean, none of us can say how the community will react to seeing these trees cut down and the changes happen, and that's why we're asking for a landscape plan, and I think it might be in everybody's best interest.
I think it is, no question. I'm not trying to suggest that they're just, that we're just going to start construction and just walk away at the end of it. That's not intention. I just want to make sure that we don't lose too much time, essentially. I mean, the building is highly deteriorated, and that's why it's become a priority repair for Telus, and that it holds all of the telco infrastructure for the island. So, I'll talk to Sophia, who's the senior property manager tomorrow, for CBRE, the managers for Telus' assets, and see if she can, if need be, write a letter, a commitment letter, if that would help, that, would commit to engage an architect, a landscape architect, and meet, follow the guidelines, before the project is complete, or if we can have a deposit or of some kind, if need be, to, essentially a landscape deposit, to do the work in the future if Telus decides to walk away, which they wouldn't with the track record that I've seen working with them. So there are options that hopefully we wouldn't need, but I just
Definitely.
just
Dennis?
nervous here.
Yeah, I totally understand the pressures you have there with your project schedule. Staff will try their best to help you meet it and explore all those options you just talked about. If you could reach out to some landscapers tomorrow as well, let's touch base and see how it goes.
Yeah, no, they're quite, the contractor's quite concerned that if we defer this again, or more than a bit here, that the project won't get organized, this
Understood. Dennis,
drive season,
it's
so.
totally understood, and I think if you and
Yeah.
Emma could coordinate tomorrow morning, that would be the way to move it forward, for sure.
Yeah, I think we have our direction from the advisory design panel regarding how this project can meet the guidelines. As far as processing the permit and those details, I can discuss with you tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll let you guys, thank you for calling.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Talk to you then.
Thanks for being available.
Okay, bye now.
Bye.
Emma, why can't you write the permit with the exclusion of the landscape drawing?
It's the requirement for something in the future to be approved after the permit is issued. I'm going to have to look at some sort of language that could allow for that.
I would think that would,
Yeah. Because normally it would be something like a landscape plan is approved, they're going to carry it out at a later date. That's fine.
well, then you go.
But now we're looking at actually approving a landscape plan at a later date.
Well, how about just a landscape bond? That
Yeah.
might be a way to deal with it.
I think, yeah, it'll still be a little tricky not knowing what kind of landscaping is
But at
going
least
to
knowing
require.
that money is,
Yeah, but the amount of money depends on what kind of landscaping
know.
we're looking for. Yeah,
Just
so
ask for
I'll
more.
look into some options that, also legally that were okay for the municipality to issue. I mean, I understand his issues, but he does have a couple weeks to get this together. So I got a call from them 2 months ago pressuring for the permit. So
Yeah.
it's his
Yeah.
job to sell that. It's my job to make sure we go through the permitting process properly.
well, they sort of should have known to put together
Exactly.
something a little more elaborate.
They submitted this February 1st,
Yeah.
and every time I've talked to them, I've brought up, can you get a proper landscaping plan?
Yeah.
Here are landscapers that work on Bowen.
Yeah,
Get one of them, they'll know what they're doing, and this is what we keep getting back.
mm-hmm.
So I have
Logical
minimal,
consequences.
Gotcha.
for what,
Yeah.
what they're going through right now, they've got plenty of information to work with.
Do we have word in there, Steph?
That's the wording.
say a professional landscape plan rather than a relaxed one.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Mhm.
I don't understand, includes ground cover other than
Yes.
sod. Just includes ground cover.
I'm gonna sound really weird here. What's the difference between sod and grass?
Well, sod is when they come with the rules and they rule
So we're
out the
talking about
grass.
just putting out sod,
Yeah.
hoping
And sod is usually,
it needs a lot of water.
it needs a ton of water, well, especially coming into the summer,
Mhm.
right, in the summer, right? But the other thing is, it's not native plants.
Yeah.
It's
And it's
Kentucky
not low
bluegrass
maintenance.
and,
No.
it's not low maintenance.
And we want
Sure isn't.
sod as opposed to native grass, because native grass, how are you gonna plant it or get it in?
Native weeds.
Make a-
Native.
I was
There's lots of
thinking
ground
of
covers that
ground
you use.
covers, like there's salal.
Sure,
or
ferns.
You know,
Ferns.
ferns, there's all kinds of
Okay.
things that grow on Bowen.
That's a
Bowen.
big difference between what they have now. which
Yeah,
is
gravel,
Yeah.
Gravel,
Gravel's
that'll
healthy.
fly.
yeah.
I'm really disappointed in the lack of not lawn notes in the,
Yeah.
Don't even mention it.
No, say look here.
I,
Do we need to make any note about us reviewing it by email within the meeting?
Never put that in a
Yeah.
resolution before, and,
Gotcha.
And
We can make it.
should you include something, something about the screening effect?
so I do
Yes.
have that as an, okay. Yeah.
because I wondered if we, or we could put it right in here, a variety of, species of trees and shrubs for screening,
Or
or
more
for visual screening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From the
that's
surface,
the
yeah.
main
Concern.
issue. I mean, if nothing else can
To
be
screen the
achieved,
building.
then screening is the
Visual
sine qua
screening
non.
from the street is what I wrote down that somebody said, I think
Yeah.
you or Betty or both said.
I'm not sure that it's necessary that they be fast-growing species, but that they be of a size that will
Yeah.
do the,
Apt
I mean, you could,
screening.
yeah,
Oh, that's good, of a size to visually screen.
yeah. The emphasis
The
is
building from
on
the
the
street.
screening. Of all the things that
Yeah.
we've been contentious with,
Yeah.
that's the most important, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the community is gonna not be doing backflips if there's sod there. They won't really care, but if
No.
you can see the building, that'll matter, for sure. In fact, there is they talk about congruity with existing stuff, be it sod or grass or whatever you do.
Yeah.
If there's grass there, and, you know, it's,
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Do we want to say the word native species or something referring to the guidelines?
Well, find
There,
enough native species
Well,
to
it's
do
native
that.
like
Screen in
well, this is my question then, is, are we?
As per the wording of the bylaw.
As for the wording of the development permit area?
Because that
Yeah.
says native, or native like.
So where it says,
I think it says use of native vegetation and ground cover is to be encouraged wherever possible.
and in 8, it says use of native vegetation and ground cover should be utilized in landscaping. Right? So,
I can't think of any native species that's coniferous and doesn't get huge.
well, yeah, we are in a rainforest.
Yeah.
But I don't mind, I just think
Apple tree.
they're gonna be
Yeah,
working with
so-
Emma, right? And
Yeah.
if we just say, you know, Emma's gonna ask them to follow the guidelines, do we have to say as per the guidelines in our motion?
No, theoretically not.
But I'm also not a tree expert, so like they submitted this plan and they were like, well, Arborist said this is okay. And I was like, did you talk to a landscaper? I talked to the Burley Brothers guys and they're like, yeah, we talked to some landscapers.
Yeah, they don't plant, they remove.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked them if they talked to a landscaper, and they're like, "Yeah, it's deer resistant, drought resistant, da da da, and native and all that stuff." But I don't know, so I'm
Yes.
like, "Okay, I'm bringing it to the ADP."
Yeah, yeah.
So whatever they submit, I go off of what they submit. I don't review with the lens of a landscaper because I'm not
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Well then,
Yeah.
I personally, as a liaison, wanting to see the municipalities' bylaws upheld.
Yeah.
Do we want to put in the word native, or do we just want to say, following the Snug Cove design guidelines?
Or you could say with a preference for native species, what's the
Wherever
guidelines?
possible.
Wherever possible, as described in
Yeah.
the, and then that would be the reference to the
Yeah.
design, or the,
Wherever possible.
where possible as outlined in the
Guidelines.
design guidelines.
What is the actual name? There's a couple of design guidelines for Canada.
This
Snug Cove, Periphery.
Snug
Village.
Cove design guidelines. All
That's
together.
it?
Yep.
Too easy, right?
Did you want to
Really
schedule?
need some stuff. Yeah, a year, I think they're looking at
I think it's
1912.
Schedule E or something like that. I don't know if you want to get specific.
I'll link, Schedule E of the land use bylaw. Is it 2001?
Two.
2002?
Do we want to say to provide immediate visual, or what you had said, of a size to provide, of a size to
Yeah.
provide visual
Yeah.
screening?
Nice.
Yeah, because then it's going to be screening from the beginning, not having to wait 10 years or whatever.
And then there was something about, I think you wanted different locations. There's something I captured, but I guess a professional landscaper
The
would
landscape,
figure that out.
figure that
It
out.
was,
A professional landscape plan.
yeah, the concern for Telus is that the trees, whatever they are, not minimize any compromise to the building in future. So the maintenance is simple for them. They don't have to go through this again, which, fair enough.
And keep them away from the power lines. Those are the two.
Yeah, and but they'll have to reiterate that to the landscape
Yeah.
people.
I do think that just, so it's not confusing, that at the end of visual screening of the building from the street is a period, and then the issue of native species should be a separate sentence, so it's not referring only to trees, but to the whole plan.
That's good.
You gotta do it resolution style.
Okay.
I think like this, right?
Yeah.
I think you could take out with a preference for, just that native species be used wherever possible.
Mhm.
Native species be used.
It should be used.
Mhm.
Be used. Yep,
Yeah.
that does it.
You might want to put your hand back up there, that's the only thing, but otherwise it's good.
We like the wording? We move to,
Send it back one more time.
Who'd
Yeah.
like to make the motion?
Is there a second?
All in favor?
Wonderful.
Okay. Good. Thank you. We have one more thing on here? Well, that's just the letting you know.
The number 5,
But,
5.1. Yep.
So is that the island plan 5.1?
Yeah.
So the council strategic planning sessions result in a report called the island plan.
Yeah.
And I've now begun to link the island plan to every single agenda in the world,
Oh.
in order to provide information and just to kind of, I don't know if it'll come up a lot with you guys, but sometimes people get excited and have ideas. Well, let's just check out what it says in the island plan. What are their priorities? Here's what we're suggesting aligning with their strategic priorities.
6 months of this year. And then we'll be starting on the next year's one, but it's really a strategic plan or a annual kind of get things done plan. And so we do have things like advancing housing initiatives and keep it roll up a little bit. So there's potential sites for housing on public land. There's a whole bunch of things happening now with the community lands over there in Lot 3. So there's fire hall with emergency center. And the multiple-use path is going ahead, and there's also Birch, the Bowen Island housing, resilient housing, and the medical center. The locations for those are getting tightened down, so I assume, are they in the Snug Cove development permit area?
Actually, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It might be in the periphery.
It might be. Okay, and if we go up a little further, so the multi-use path, just so people have got that in mind, it's going to start at Charlie's Lane, but in future years, it's going to come all the way down into Snug Cove, so that'll be something to think about. We're starting to refer to it.
Isn't that already there, Sean? The existing, the
It'll
one
be-
that parallels the road?
It'll
Currently.
be. I'm
He
sorry.
goes, there's one that goes from the school and parallels the road until it gets just about to Charlie's Lane. And then,
Yep,
isn't that's the trans
that's,
island
yeah,
path?
the start of it, the multi-use path.
Yeah.
But I think what Sue Ellen is referring to, that will be extended all the way to the ferry terminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're already starting to talk about a little bit, went with the power lines and a spot for an electric vehicle charging station, for example. And if you go up a little bit more,
Sue Ellen, I have to.
You gotta go?
I've got to get the ferry.
oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
Anyway, that's just
But,
me.
Are we moving to adjourn?
I think we've got this thing on here, but this is for information, right?
Right, right.
All right,
All in favor of adjournment?
cheers, thank you, Mike.